Hi everyone, I've had a few requests on gents haircuts, so this can be used on children and husbands, also women with shorter hair as well. I wouldn't always recommend you cutting your own hair at home, but I actually want to go over the do's and don'ts. So if you are going to cut your own hair, I want you to know how to do it correctly. So standard clippers, you've got different gradings. So I want you to start with a grade 3, which is 10mm. You can see there. So put that onto your clippers. And then what you want to do is section off the hair. Make sure your sectioning is very neat. And just wet the top. Try not to wet the sides because you want to keep that dry for the clippers. So like I say, I'm just using very basic techniques, just something that will help you get by until the lockdown is over. So bring that tight to the head and just section it off. So here I'm creating a halo. So if you lift up the hair, you will see where the hair grows and where it finishes. So you want to make sure you don't go any higher than these corners. So make sure it's wet. It's easier to do when it's wet. The easiest way to take a section is to use your finger on the top of your comb and draw a line and then separate that hair and lift it up. And then clip it in. You want to make sure that this comes slightly lower, as you don't want to be shaving any higher than this area here. A lot of people make the mistakes of going far too high on a short grading, so when you do go higher you want to make sure that's the longest grade. So the angle's good. So when you're going in with the clippers, you want to go in but then lift off. So you pull it in, and where you get to this bone here, you want to be lifting off. So in and off. So with a grade 3, not much hair will come off. So place your finger on the ear and push it down to go around the ears. So you want to be going just about 1 centimetre under where you've sectioned it off. And remember, this is with a grade 3. So you want to keep your guide very neat. I've seen a few people make the mistake of just doing a bit here and then a bit here and leaving some down here. So you just want to make sure that you've got all those hairs all neat across in the line. So again, you just want to be making sure that you've gone up to the same point all the way around. Once you've gone in with a grade 3, move on to a grade 2. And then now you're only going up about another centimetre in between where you've just done. Again, moving away from the head. So by going through all the different grades, this is what gives it a clean, sharp look around the edges. Don't worry too much about the ears at the moment, you will go around and neaten that up afterwards. Also this hair here, I will go over how to neaten up that part as well. So as you can see here, I'm creating a rounded edge as it goes round and going no higher than this point in the corner. So you will see a line start to form in the hair as well, and that's okay because you're going to blend it in afterwards. So you could actually just stop at grade 2 around the bottom, but I like to go in with a grade 1, and that just gets a really sharp, close finish towards the bottom. If you're a bit worried about doing a grade 1, you can actually, you've got a little arm on your clippers that you can push forward, and that makes it a 1.5. So again, this is just very much just at the bottom really, and just around the edges. Make sure you're going over the hair just to get all those little bits of hair. If you've got hair as well that's going in a different direction, you can always turn your clippers upside down and actually go down, and that just takes off those ends. You've got to work with the direction of the hair. You okay? Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go over just around the edges with the grade 1 as well, and that just gives it a clean, fresh finish. A lot of people are a bit scared by ears. There we are, that's going over with a grade 1. So So here you might notice that you've now got a line here. So I've done a grade 1, so I'm actually going to go in with a 1.5 and just blend that in. So you're just bouncing off the head, not pushing the clippers too hard, and just pulling away as you're doing so. And can you see already that line started to fade? So again, this is just very much just at the bottom really, and just around the edges. Make sure you're going over the hair just to get all those little bits of hair. If you've got hair as well that's going in a different direction, you can always turn your clippers upside down and actually go down, and that just takes off those ends. You've got to work with the direction of the hair. You okay? Just neaten up that edge. Also with this bit at the front, you can bring that forward and just square that off. Just be very careful not to take too much hair off, or even the eyebrows for that fact. I don't think your husbands will be very happy. Is that in the right position? Yeah. And then just repeating the other side. Again, you're just being very careful. Just follow the hairline and just make sure you've got rid of all those little extra hairs that aren't needed. I hate these, it's terrible. So there we have that. So that's just give it a neat clean finish. At this point you might just want to get a towel and brush off any of the hairs to make sure that you've got any loose hairs on the neck. A lot of men tend to have hair a little bit further down, so just brush the neck off and then go back over those bits. So now, excuse me, now you want to be blending this part in. So depending on what kind of scissors you've got at home is going to determine how you'll be able to do this. You can actually go over it with a grade up higher than a 3, do a 4, just to blend it and just leave it like that for now. Or if you're feeling a bit more confident, get your scissors. This is a technique called scissor over comb. So doing little snips. So the comb acts as a barrier so you don't take too much off. And again, you want to be lifting your comb away from the head as you're doing this. So you just want to, not taking too much off, but just doing little snips as you're going along. I'm just going to bring this camera over. So good. So you want to be bringing all the hair up like this, and then your scissors here, and you just want to be doing little snips. So the comb acts as a barrier so you don't take too much off, and again you want to be lifting your comb away from the head as you're doing this. So this is the part that will actually take you the longest to do. And you can spend ages and ages trying to perfect it. So obviously I've got a lot of experience in hairdressing, so it just comes second nature to me. But like I say, if you're struggling with this part, what you can do is get a grade 4 and just go over these little bits and get rid of, it's basically we're just getting rid of this line. But you can do it with a grade if you're struggling. And then you just want to match it all up on the other side. And again, don't go any higher than where it comes at a pointing on the forehead. So make sure you stick to this line, don't go any higher. I've seen a few videos online where people have just gone far too high. So you don't want to be making that mistake. So you're using the wider side of your comb for this point as well. If at all you have decided, oh this makes me cringe, if you have decided to cut your hair with kitchen scissors, this technique obviously won't work very well. Because the kitchen scissors will fold the hair. If you can order like some training hairdresser scissors online, that would be a lot better because it'll go through the hair a lot easier. If you are having to use kitchen scissors, we've all got to use what we've got. If you are having to use kitchen scissors, then I would recommend going over it with the grade 4, just so that you haven't got to do this step. So at the same time as well, you want to be making sure that it's all looking even in the mirror. If you're seeing any bits that look a bit longer, just take your time to step back and actually really have a look at how the hair's falling. Because if you look from an angle at the back, you'll be able to see if there's any imperfections. And again, on the side, just have a little look and go over any areas where you think the hair looks a little bit longer. There we have it. So remember, we're just doing a very basic cut, nothing too fancy, just enough to get your partners through until the hairdressers or barbers open again. So there we go. So now you just want to be wetting the top back down. So this part I'm actually not going to be cutting Mikkel's hair, I'm just going to be demonstrating on what to do, just because Mikkel actually has a slightly different style. So what I don't want to do is take the length off the top. So I'm just going to demonstrate on how you would do the top. So most simplest way, put a middle parting in. Sorry Mikkel.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm going to look really cool now. It's like going back to the 90s.
I'm sorry.
I think I look a bit like brother.
You won't be happy about that. But yeah, it was true. Who else had curtains in the 90s?
I think you can all answer that, truthfully.
So, here, what you want to be doing, so you've put your middle parting in. You want to be doing this in 2 parts. So you start from the back and you do what I called a terrace chocolate orange slice earlier in another video. And you want to be bringing that section back. So get all of that hair into your hands. And what you want to be doing, can you see?
Turn the...
So what you want to be doing is actually overextending the hair and then cutting this straight. If you just face forward. So yeah, don't really take too much off, but the reason for overextending the hair back is that when it's brought forward again, the hair at the front is slightly longer, because you don't want to take the front too short. You want to leave them with a fringe, a bit of texture and movement to work with. So that's why you overextend it. If you find once you've got to the front's still a little bit too long, what you can do is just go back through those sections, but just pull them up a little bit rather than back, and then just take a tiny bit. And as you're doing it, cut a straight line, then take your next section, and what you're going to do is steal apart from the section before, and you will see a line underneath of where you cut before. Only cut to that line, but make sure you're bringing it back slightly as you do so. And then again, you can bring these parts down and cut this straight here. Again, cutting it straight. Once you've got to the very last section, this is the part that you really want to overextend. So you're bringing it right back and then cutting that straight. Then you want to repeat it onto the other side. So terrace chocolate orange, coming slightly forward on an angle with the section in, and then bringing it back. And you're actually cutting the angle to the same angle that you've made in the hair. I'm just going to repeat that.
Maybe show it as well.
Yeah, so could you hold that?
Do it on this side.
Okay. So I'm just going to repeat that. So if you've brought a section like that, that's where you want the hair to be falling and cutting straight. You want it the same angle as that. Actually, you can't see. So if you've created an angle, can you see that's the line? So you stretch the hair back and you want to be cutting to the same angle that that is here. So bring the hair straight and then cut it. Okay, there we go. And again, repeat all down onto this side, and then after you've finished there, you just want to touch it up in the middle, make sure it's the same length on both sides. So these parts you're just going to bring straight up and cut them straight. So bring them straight up and take the ends off.
To the same length?
To the same length, yeah. So this part, you'll notice where you've cut here, so you can always bring this bit round, and if you've got a bit where it's a bit longer, so you just cut. You can point cut. Now point cutting is where you cut straight down into the hair, which I would recommend, because if at all you do make any mistakes, it's going to be covered a little bit by point cutting, where if you're blunt cutting, it's going to show all the lines if you have made a mistake at all. So point cutting is a little bit more forgiving. So you just point cut into the hair like this, and straight down and just chop it. So you're still cutting in a straight line, still make sure all the hairs are the same length, but you're just chopping down into it instead of straight across. Okay. So yeah, that's most of the demonstration. I'm going to be doing a slightly different haircut on Mikhail now. So if you do want to follow that part, I'll do another video for that. Thank you. Bye.